My name's Dominic Woolrych and I'm Head of Legal at LawPath.
Could you just explain the nature of the work that you do as Head of Legal?
Yep, very much. I suppose explaining the space that LawPath is in is probably the best way to explain what we do. We're a relatively young company. We've only been around for 2 years, and essentially we see ourselves as a technology company, not a law firm. However, we still provide legal services. So we're predominantly focused at small to medium businesses. We have about 20,000 clients that can come to our virtual online hub and consume legal services such as registering companies, registering trademarks, and probably most importantly, accessing our marketplace of 660 lawyers.
Do you wish to make an opening statement, or can we go straight into questions?
You can go straight into questions.
I'm interested to know how the market hub works. Could you please elaborate on that?
Yeah, of course. So we about 2 years ago, we really saw that the legal industry was very fragmented in terms of solo practitioners and rural practitioners, and they had limited access to these clients. So bringing them all online and into one space really made a lot of sense. So the marketplace works by a lawyer joins our marketplace, they have a profile on the marketplace, and clients come to us predominantly through online advertising and request legal services. We then go out to the marketplace and request fixed price quotes. To be on our marketplace, you must only be value-based billing, you cannot do time-based billing. And we then present the best 3 fixed price quotes back to the client. The client chooses which lawyer they'd like to move forward with, and the services begin.
What type of work is covered by that form of marketplace?
Sure. So I would say 90% of it is commercial work. We do focus on commercial work, and the type of commercial work I would say is what I like to call commoditised law. So legal work that can be set within a scope and can be fixed priced.
So no litigation?
No litigation. We see litigation as the final frontier.
Right. And what has been the feedback from clients about that marketplace?
Yeah, well, very much, the new type of client that we see, which is the small to medium business, predominantly online. We focus on a lot of new businesses. They are comfortable engaging lawyers online. They engage all other services online. And I see the legal profession as the last ones to really make it into the online space. So clients are now very, very happy to use Skype and use online video tools to connect with a lawyer, and then be provided with legal services via email or via phone. So that's probably the first huge shift that we've seen. The second is around transparency. So as a small to medium business, you need to know how much you're going to be paying upfront for services. So the ability for them to log on and within a couple of hours received fixed price quotes for the work is very, very appealing to them. And more importantly, being able to compare lawyers in the one spot. I used to think if a small to medium business was going to find a lawyer, they'd walk up to their high street and they'd look out for the sign that says lawyer, and they'd go in and ask how much it would be for the legal services. Whereas online, they can be presented with a number of quotes right there in front of them.
And what are the drivers of choice? Is it purely dollars, or there are other factors? And if there are other factors, how does a potential client make an assessment?
Yes, so originally our kind of hypothesis was that it was going to be price-based and a race to the bottom, if you will. But what we have found is it's not. It comes down to the quality. So all of our lawyers, they scope the job by speaking to the client first. So what we find is that clients are happy to move forward with a lawyer that they have a good relationship with, rather than just on price.
But a first-time user?
First-time user.
How does that work with a first-time user?
Yeah, well, first-time users, it's always on price.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions?
Do you see any consequences for this in terms of the broader market of legal services, beyond where you're already operating?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, just in the last 12 months, we've seen a huge shift in the type of lawyers that are coming to us and applying to be on the platform. As I mentioned, when we started, it was very much solo practitioners and a lot of boutique firms, for example, partners that had left top tiers and were wanting to work from home a couple of days a week. Additionally, mothers that had kids at home that wanted to do 6 or 7 hours of work a day. We've seen a huge shift now towards larger firms coming on board. We now have 3 top tiers on the platform. We have 2 more applications pending. So I see that where we almost, as you will, started from the bottom, now we're starting to see much larger firms engage in this online space.
You're also providing online services, I think, for company registrations, you said?
We are. So the marketplace is just half of the service that we provide. Essentially, we're a hub where you can get any legal services. So we use a lot of technology. We have an automated ACN, which is Company Registration System. We have an automated trademark system with IP Australia. We have an automated patent system. So we're trying as much as possible to use technology to cut down the inefficiencies and provide these fixed price services.
And that essentially, that second part of the business essentially works by decision trees, is that right?
That's correct. So it originally started with just documents. We have what I like to call DIY documents. You can come to the LawPath platform, you can complete over 200 legal documents yourself using kind of essentially decision tree software. And then that has evolved into a more complex system whereby if you complete a company registration, we can also auto-generate a simple shareholders agreement for you because we have all the data there.
And so as it becomes more sophisticated, I make no judgment about this, it's just a genuine question. Do you think that the line between the service that you're offering, which you said at the start is definitely not legal advice, might be perceived to be legal advice? Yes,
there's definitely a risk there in the future that it will come into there'll be a grey area. And so a lot of my time is spent looking at unauthorised practice of law and whether we're encroaching on that at all. That's very much where we see the two sides of the business. We know that there are limitations with the software and with the technology around automation. So that is where that marketplace of lawyers must come into play, and they're the ones that can provide the legal advice.
I guess what I'm saying is you know that, but a client who may have a moderate level of sophistication may find that line a bit blurry. And how do you deal with it, other than simply having lots of disclaimers saying this is not legal advice? But if it kind of feels a bit like legal advice, they're getting the document just like they used to from a lawyer. How do you deal with that?
So, I mean, obviously we have disclaimers everywhere that say that it's not legal advice. It comes down to clients are far more sophisticated these days. They know the risks in using a DIY or a software-enabled solution, and if they feel that there are risks there, they need to move over and use the lawyers.
Okay.
I take it the marketplace is national?
That's correct.
Yep. What about overseas?
So we have a number of lawyers in New Zealand. The system, the platform that we've set up has been built so that we can swap out the lawyers, swap out the precedents and move it to any jurisdiction. We have intentions to moving up into Asia very shortly, but at this stage we're primarily focused on Australia.
So potentially it offers the opportunity to unbundle legal services, particularly with a global transaction. So a user of the marketplace could select someone from Australia, someone from New Zealand, someone from Asia, and get quotes on.
Very much so. So, I mean, we already have partnerships with an American company that's very similar to us and a UK company, and especially for trademark work. Clients will come to us for the Australian trademark and use our partners through our system for the international trademarks.
Where do you think this is heading? What's the future?
I have high hopes for this area. Definitely, as Ed kind of alluded to, using more and more technology, more and more automation, and really starting to push almost as legally as possible that boundary between using software to get legal services completed and using a lawyer. There is always going to be room. Lawyers will never be replaced by technology. Working over the last 3 years, I've discovered that. But there is definitely a place to create efficiencies and cut costs using technology.
Do you see it influencing the way in which lawyers use technology to become more efficient, particularly when they're competing on price?
Yeah, most definitely. So bringing on a new lawyer to our platform is quite a challenging process. It's completely different how they've ever engaged clients before. They're not used to dealing online. They're not used, a lot of the time, not used to the fixed price quoting. What we see with lawyers that have been on the platform for a number of years now is that work that they can't do within their practice, they'll outsource back to our platform. So we're actually seeing not just new clients coming in, but lawyers using the platform to complete other services.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
No, you asked.
Any more questions? No. Thank you very much for
Thank
coming
you.
along today.
Thank you.